Pulling up stats, you'll be pulling in stacks, hitting bookies from the back with no Vaseline. I need green and see quantities for a fiend, save the dreams for a king. This is H-Town, home of the lean. Astros is the team, and we rock it. Texans for life, you can't stop it. Together like brothers and bets and jets. All the time we be pubbing on the grind. If it's LJ from Houston, pulling up stats, you'll be pulling in stacks, hitting bookies from the back with no Vaseline. I need green and see quantities for a fiend, save the dreams for a king. This is H-Town, home of the lean. Astros is the team, and we rock it. Texans for life, you can't stop it. Together like brothers and bets and jets. All the time we be pubbing on the grind. If it's LJ from Houston, pulling up stats, you'll be pulling in stacks, hitting bookies from the back with no Vaseline. I need green and see quantities for a fiend, save the dreams for a king. This is H-Town, home of the lean. Astros is the team, and we rock it. Texans for life, you can't stop it. Together like brothers and bets and jets. All the time we be pubbing on the grind. If it's LJ from Houston, pulling up stats, you'll be pulling in stacks, hitting bookies from the back with no Vaseline. I need green and see quantities for a fiend, save the dreams for a king. This is H-Town, home of the lean. Astros is the team, and we rock it. Texans for life, you can't stop it. Together like brothers and bets and jets.
What's going on, sports fans? LJ from H-Town back again. Another Sunday NFL game day. And of course, when I'm coming on the stream, I'm talking live picks, making bets. I've got my prop bets ready to go for you today. So let's get right into it, man. It's business as usual. I don't want to waste your time. So let's jump over to the Cincinnati, Tennessee game. We got Joe Burrow going up against the Tennessee defense, who allows 40 pass attempts a game. They allow 38 pass attempts at home. They've allowed 43 pass attempts average their last 3 games at home. Now, we got Joe Burrow on the other side. We already know Mixon is out. They don't tend to run the ball a lot. So I see a lot of passing opportunities for Joe Burrow today. So we're going to jump on Joe Burrow over 36.5 pass attempts minus 130 because he's averaged 37 pass attempts his last 3 road games. And I've already told you that Tennessee gives up the most pass attempts in the league because they shut down the run. You can't run the ball on Tennessee, but you can pass. So Joe Burrow over 36.5 pass attempts today. We're going to take his prop against the Tennessee Titans. Now, let's move over to Cleveland and the Bucks. I just saw on game day, it's raining outside. So we know that Tampa Bay doesn't really run the ball. Leonard Fournette didn't make the trip, so he's out. So they're on a backup running back. So I see Tom Brady heavy today, passing. Pass attempts over 37.5 minus 106 because Cleveland allows 36 pass attempts at home, and they've allowed 34 pass attempts their last 3 home games. And Tom Brady leads the league in pass attempts. He's averaging 39 pass attempts in his last 3 games. So we know Tampa Bay, like I just mentioned, don't run the ball. So Tom Brady's going to have to pass the ball a lot today. And Cleveland shuts down the run at home. You can't run on them, but you can pass. They give up the most passing attempts at home than they do on the road. So let's take advantage of that today. Tom Brady over 37.5 pass attempts versus Cleveland. Now, let's jump to this Atlanta and Washington game. Washington has a great defense, and we know that they can shut down the run. You may pass on them, but the run game is solid because Washington is only averaging 80 yards rushing at home. Now, you got Cordell Patterson coming in there, and I'm going to take his under 46.5 rushing yards minus 120 because Cordell Patterson hasn't rushed for over 40 yards in the last 3 games he just came back. He's only averaging 38 yards on the ground his last 3 games. Washington, like I just mentioned, they allow 78 rushing yards at home, which is under 80, and they only have allowed 50 yards rushing 3 out of the last 4 games versus the running back position. Now, Derrick Henry did catch them for over 100, but that's Derrick Henry. We already understand that he leads the NFL in rushing. It would be hard to stop him considering the attempts and the yardage usage that Tennessee has with Derrick Henry. But the other three teams that have came into the home stadium of Washington, they've only ran the ball an average of 50 yards the last 3 out of the 4 games. So we're going to take Washington's defense to stop Cordell Patterson under 46 and a half rush yards, minus 120. Now let's jump over to this Texans and Miami game. And of course, with the Texans, I always try to find money, even if you don't take a side, because we can probably predict today that they're going to lose to Miami today. Now, it may be a difference with Kyle Allen in the lineup because he is the quarterback now. They've benched Davis Mills, so they may get a little burst of another quarterback. So who knows what the Texans will show today. But I do believe Miami will pull out the win, and I'm going to take Jeff Wilson Jr. over 80 and a half rush yards. Well, now it's 86. I'm sorry. Jeff Wilson Jr. over 86 and a half rush yards, minus 130. Now, earlier it was 84, I believe, earlier in the week, but they juiced it up because we do know that the Texans have the worst rush defense in the NFL. And every running back that we have seen rush on the Texans have had a good day. Now, last week, Washington, they had 2 running backs that were contributing. So each of them had a chance to get opportunities to feast on the Texans' rush defense. It's one quarterback, I'm running back today because I do believe that Mostert is injured. I don't believe he's playing today. So Miami has Jeff Wilson in the back. And I wouldn't be mad if he took his rush and receivings or his fantasy score if you do prize picks. So heavy dose of Jeff Wilson Jr. today because he's averaging 85 rushing yards in his last 2 games. He's averaging 64 in the season, but he was with the 49ers. The 49ers traded him to Miami. So he's boosted up his rush yards since he's joined the Miami Dolphins. So, and the Texans, of course, I just mentioned, allows 179 rushing yards on the season, which is dead last in the NFL. So let's take advantage of the dead last rush defense. Jeff Wilson Jr. over 86 and a half rush yards, minus 130. Now, I do have a couple of late games later, but I don't want to mention them right now because I don't want to waste your time. I want y'all to make sure y'all can research these numbers that I'm doing. And hey, you may want to make the bets for yourself before the new kicks off. So I may come back with another 10-minute show to do the late game props. But I do have an honorable mention for the early game. We got Baltimore going on the road to go against Jacksonville. Now, I took Lamar Jackson's under 200 passing yards because Jacksonville only allows 186 passing yards at home, which is top 5 in the NFL. So Lamar Jackson has only averaged 193 passing yards the last 3 road games as well. So I'm going to jump on this, but I'm not telling you to take this. This is not a show bet. This is just an honorable mention that I don't take a lot of unders, but I do believe that Jacksonville can take care of this under today because Baltimore usually runs the ball. And I think they're going to try to establish the run heavy today. And considering how Jacksonville's pass defense is at home, I don't think they want to take a lot of chances with Lamar Jackson today passing the ball. So I'm going to take a shot. Lamar Jackson, under 200 passing yards today for Jacksonville. But I'm not giving it out as a show bet. I gave out my show bets, and I got a bonus show bet for you. Plus money. Heine for Washington, over 200 plus passing yards, parlayed it with McLaren, anytime touchdown, plus 450. Because Atlanta allows 298 passing yards on the road. They've allowed 304 passing yards on the road their last 3 games. And Heineke is averaging 206 passing yards on the season. And I do believe his number 1 target, McLaren, will get in the end zone today. I had him last week versus the Texans. He just missed it. So I have a little rule to where if I just missed you last week to cash your prop, more than likely I'm going to get on your prop the next week, especially if the numbers correlate to an advantage. So today, Heine, over 200 passing yards with Washington, parlayed it with Terry McLaurin, anytime touchdown, plus 450. Those are my 5 picks. Like I mentioned, I am really strongly considering coming back before the late games to give you 3 more NFL props for the late game. But those are my early props for the NFL today. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you get the bets in real quick before this noon kicks off in 2 hours. So enjoy the rest of the shows today. And of course, LJ from Houston, H-Town, however you want to mention it. Find me on Twitter at LJ Sports Media. And I will be doing the NBA props probably tonight or tomorrow. But be looking for the NBA prop show for the coming week next week. But today, let's jump on these NFL props today. Let's take advantage of these bookies and let's cash.
Yeah, R-A-W, words being served, no concern and no trouble to get that dough. Money on my mind, if it's money all the time, we be pumping on the grind. If it's LJ from Houston, pulling up stats, you'll be pulling in stacks, hitting bookies from the back with no Vaseline. I need green and upsy quantities for a fiend, save the dreams for a king. This is H-Town, home of the lean. Astros is the team and we rock Texans for